Hi everybody, follow me to India today as I try a dish called Paneer Dopiaza. Dopyaza actually originated centuries ago in Khorasan, a historical region that is nowadays shared between Iran, Afghanistan and Turkmenistan, and Dopyaza means two onions in Persian. Now some say that this might refer to the use of twice as much onion as the other main ingredient, which can be meat, potatoes or cheese, while others think it refers to the use of onions in two separate stages, which is indeed what I will be doing. Be it as it may, you'll see that onion truly is key to this dish. So let's check out the Indian take on Dopyaza. First of all, I'm going to prepare a tomato puree. Here's how to easily peel tomatoes if you want a super smooth gravy without the skin. I score a small cross on top of each of 3 tomatoes with a knife, then I blanch them in boiling water for a couple of minutes, wait for them to cool down in cold water, and this is how easily the skin comes off. Now I'm going to blend them and keep the puree aside for later. I take a red onion, chop it, and obtain these small petal-like bits. I also dice 200 grams of paneer cheese, but this is a dish that can also be prepared with chicken, lamb, shrimp, or even vegetables such as okra or potatoes. Paneer is quite easy to find here in the UK, but it's generally quite firm rather than soft like the one that can be found in India. The next step is to shallow fry the paneer cubes and the onions in vegetable oil for about 5 to 10 minutes. I also add 1 teaspoon of curry powder. At this point, let's prepare the rest of the onions. I'm using 2 white ones this time, and I blend them with some ginger and a couple of garlic cloves. And now, before I start working on the gravy, I'll prepare the dough for some roti, which will be the perfect accompaniment for this dish. It's actually quite easy. In a bowl, I mix 180 grams of flour, 140 milliliters of warm water, and half a teaspoon of salt. I'm using gluten-free flour as I'm gluten intolerant, but these are the same ingredient amounts as with all-purpose wheat flour. I'll start mixing ingredients with a spoon, and then knead with my hands for 5 to 10 minutes until I obtain a smooth but firm dough. Roti is one of the quickest and easiest types of bread to make, as it doesn't even need proofing. Now that the dough is ready, all I need to do is cover it and let it rest for 15 minutes until I'm ready to use it. So let's get to the gravy now. I reheat a tablespoon of ghee in a non-stick pan, add a teaspoon of cumin seeds along with a few cloves and cardamom pods, and let them fry for about a minute on low heat, until they start releasing their aroma. Of course, if you prefer, you can replace ghee with vegetable oil. At this point, I can remove the cloves and cardamom, and I add the blend of onions, ginger and garlic. Now for the spices, I'll add 1 teaspoon of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of turmeric, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon powder, and 1 teaspoon of coriander powder. After about 5 minutes, I add the tomato puree. I also add a teaspoon of tomato paste and I let it simmer for 10 minutes, until most of the water is absorbed. Let's now add 200 grams of Greek yogurt and simmer for 10 more minutes. You should be using Indian curd if available, or you could make it yourself, but Greek yogurt is a good substitute. I believe tomatoes and curd are what truly differentiates Indian Dopyaza from the Iranian and Afghan versions, which might only use a bit of tomato paste, but generally speaking no dairy products as far as I've seen. I'll now add 1 teaspoon of fenugreek leaves, or kasuri methi, a glass of water, and I let it simmer for another 20 to 25 minutes, adding more water if necessary. Now is the perfect time to get back to my rotis. I take out the dough I prepared before and I cut it into 6 balls of 50 to 60 grams each. I dust 1 bowl with flour and roll it flat by continuously turning it to create a 16 to 18 cm disc, applying more pressure on the edges than the center. Typically, rotis are cooked on a tava, which is a flat iron skillet, but you can also use a regular iron skillet or a saucepan like I'm doing. I set the flame on medium-high, and once the skillet is hot, I place a roti on it. After about a minute, I flip it, and then I cook it for a few more seconds before flipping it again, pressing a spatula on it to allow it to puff up. This doesn't always happen, especially with gluten-free flour and if the skillet isn't hot enough, so sometimes I make them puff by placing them directly on the flame, but I wouldn't worry too much about it as they will still be great. Rotis can either be served plain or brushed with some butter or ghee on one side. And now, let's cover the rotis so we can get back to the gravy. I'll throw in the onion and paneer I fried previously and cook for 5 more minutes, always on medium to low heat. And it's time to plate it. With a sprinkle of fresh coriander on top and the freshly baked rotis on the side. Well, this truly tastes fantastic. It's a relatively mild version of dopyaza by Indian standards, but if you like it spicier, you can simply increase the amount of chili powder. It's perfect to scoop with roti or naan, but you can also serve it with plain rice or jeera rice, which is rice with cumin seeds. This is definitely one of the best paneer dishes, and I'm definitely going to try it with chicken or lamb next time. Will you? Let me know in the comments. So, where are we going next?